Hey everyone, John Henry here from School of Trade. Today we're going to be taking a look at a long setup here on crude oil. Let me get my entry, stop, and targets in place here. So we got entered in 43.82. I'm primarily looking for this to go back up to the highs. We're in a range scenario. We need to be looking to buy low and we need to be looking to sell high. And right now we're kind of in the middle after a strong move up. But unfortunately, I'm not awake at 5 in the morning to take that buy off the lows. So instead, we have to wait for a little bit of a nicer setup, and that gets us in right here at 43.82. Now I'm looking to utilize the highs here as the target. So that's going to be the objective. Now it may go farther than that. It may not. It just all kind of depends on what they want to do here. One thing to keep in mind on this range, we broke down, right? If we look at this breakdown, we broke down 16 ticks. So a lot of times what we can do is you can measure that up and say, all right, well, if we broke down 16 ticks, we should break up about the same amount. And that would put an objective up here for a final target at around 15. So 44.15 is going to be the final objective, just looking for them to want to equal out what they did on the bottom end. Now, overall, it is a relatively slow day today. We have a decent amount of news coming out as well, but it's inventory day, right? With crude oil, if you've traded crude oil before, even if you've watched a couple of the videos, you know inventory day can be one of two things: extreme or dead until the news comes out, and then extreme, right? So because we're very early, we have a long time to go until we hit that news. A lot of times, a lot of traders just duck out. They sleep in. They come in a little bit later when we get closer to news, and they can trade then. So this is expected to take a little while before we start getting this move going. But stop is down at 71, entry is at 82, looking for the first target at 99, and then the final one on a potential breakout up to 15. Seeing the buyers pushing in, trying to get this breakout move going. Now, I have moved the stop up a little bit, up to 76, and that's primarily because they came back to that break-even point that we were in, and they held it as support. So seeing that really kind of solidifies the fact that buyers are still in this. They want to drive this higher. We just need to get out of this congestion area, right? And that's always kind of the issue that we run into when we're trading around this middle, which, again, really kind of tells you that we are going higher, but we need to wait for good signals to get in, and that's where we got in at 82. Nice little trap on the lows, turns right back up again. Everything pointing to the upside, but you still have to give it some room because it's probably going to wiggle around on you. So we're nearing our target here at 43.99. We are seeing the buyers defend. Every attempt from the bears is shut down completely. And now we're just coming off of the back of a very weak bear attempt. Really just looks like they gave up as soon as it went above that. And now we have full amount of buying pressure right back on the table looking for those range highs. Now, zooming out a little bit here, we can see we really haven't gone anywhere, and this goes to show the range in its entirety. Really, we're not really getting any big movement up or down, and just kind of struggling in both directions. So overall, I definitely am looking for them to try to match what they did on the lows here, but don't be surprised if that's really all they give you, right? They go up to those highs, we fail, and then dump right back down again, and we end up and find ourselves right back at the low a day. So that is something to keep in mind, but we are seeing the buyers trying to push this. Now we just need to see them follow it up and get that drive going to get that target at 99 and then above to 15. All right, nice big push through. We get that target filled, and now we're in an area that we can kind of play around here a little bit. Now, there's two different ways that you can approach this. You can say, well, I know that this is still a range, and we're probably going to play around a little bit. There will be a lot of people taking profit up here, so I would expect to see this come back down again. So we don't really want a whole lot of risk on the table, but at the same time, we want some room for this market to wiggle around. So the last time we saw the sellers completely give up was below this bear candle. So instead of going to a positive stop, I'm going to go right to break even to give it as much room as I possibly can. Worst case, we're out at break even. Best case, we get that drive up to 15, weathering a pullback to lock in another 33 ticks. So that's kind of the thing that you have to deal with. Do you want to leave risk on the table, or do you want to get all out here? Now, in this case, I took a majority of the profit off at the top there, but I do want to give it some room to kind of work this last little push, hopefully, out of its system. So looking for a little bit more continuation to the upside at 44.15. All right, buyers pushing in really close to our target, one tick away. Now, we've come one tick away, and because of that, I'm going to lock my stop in. I really don't want to give any of this move back, especially since we're hitting an area of resistance here at 44.10. So I do want to see them go relatively soon, and there we go. We get the target filled. Beautiful move up. It's exactly what we were looking for, and we definitely weathered a little bit of a pullback there. You'll notice exactly what we were talking about. They pulled back down on themselves with all of those buyers from down here taking profit, as well as sellers knowing that they're wrong and getting out with with stop losses, unfortunately for them. That's what drove that move up. So lots of movement up here, and just a beautiful trade, exactly what we were looking for, and I think we weathered it pretty well, given all of the chop and slot back and forth. So now we're equaling out what we did on the bottom. This is where we start to look for potential reversals right back down again, but now we have news to worry about, right? We have the open in a little bit, we have news around the corner, there's lots of things that can tell us, I mean, we might want to wait a little bit and see what the market wants to do. But for this one, that's it for me. So if you have any questions about it, feel free to send me an email to School of Trade. Don't forget to check out our trial at schooloftrade.com, and as always, we'll catch you next time.